Now, as I mentioned earlier in the program, the French rail sector continues its rolling strike, and amid that, millions of passengers are now looking for other ways to get around. Here in Paris, several private initiatives exist that allow commuters to rent an electric scooter or bicycle through an app on their smartphones. Though it doesn't always work, the vehicles can be found throughout the city and don't have to be hooked up to a dock after use. Our reporters took a look at whether this new model can indeed replace public transport.
They've become part of the scenery. In less than 2 years, shared self-service bikes and scooters have invaded the streets of Paris. City Scoot's bright blue and white colors are hard to miss. The French startup even offers a free training session for beginners under the watchful eye of a professional.
I've always wanted to get a motorcycle license, but my husband is against it. Instead, I'm learning how to ride a scooter. Plus, summer's just round the corner.
Europe's #1 shared scooter brand is keen to show it's serious about security and maintaining its fleet.
We're inside the City Scoot garage. This is really where the core operations take place. I like calling it the hive because there are scooters coming and going all the time.
City Scoot needs very little infrastructure. 15 electric vans roam the streets to replace used batteries in scooters located by GPS, an operating system adapted for cities.
The scooter we use, which is equivalent to a 50 cubic centimeter model, goes up to 45 kilometers an hour, and it's clearly designed for an urban environment. Our services are aimed at making dense city centers less congested.
These new modes of transport are known as free-floating devices because they don't need terminals or specially made docks. Users can pick them up and leave them anywhere as long as they respect parking rules. It's a user model designed for the so-called last kilometer between a metro station and home or between the office and a client meeting. Instead of competing with public transport, it completes that last leg of the user's journey. That's why Paris's public transport system, the RATP, has chosen to invest millions of euros in private startups like CityScoot.
For urban mobility to be successful, there has to be an entire ecosystem in which public transport plays a fundamental role, because it's really the backbone of getting around of urban mobility. But it's really just one part of an entire system, and at the RATP we remain modest about what we can do, and we know others also have expertise they can bring.
Paris's local government already has a shared transport system, notably the Vélib, launched in 2007. But the rollout of the new generation of bikes is taking much longer than expected, in particular because of its infrastructure needs. The service's 300,000 subscribers are frustrated by the delays, but the operator says the new models are well worth the wait.
We wanted to learn from our mistakes with the first Vélibs, and the second generation is much more resistant, especially to vandalism and theft. It not only slides into the dock, there's also a lock system, and the bike can even be blocked remotely if it's been stolen.
Close to a third of Vélib bicycles have been damaged or stolen since they were launched. A problem bike services are also facing since they arrived in Paris 6 months ago. Gobi Bike, the first to launch, was also the first to give up. Among those still on the streets of the French capital, O-Bike hopes to incite its users to be more responsible by not damaging their bikes and parking them in designated spaces.
As we speak, we're moving toward a system that's much more social and decentralized. O-Bike will share its bikes and its technology with local operators who will maintain the bikes themselves, just like associations. They'll be the ones to manage them. They'll be the ones to repair them in neighborhood workshops with friends and neighbors.
Since Paris City Hall began its campaign to discourage driving gas-powered cars, any alternative is welcome. Free-floating bike and scooter companies hope to convince the city's 10 million daily public transport users and car drivers to adopt their two-wheelers. But it's a long road ahead. In total, there are just 10,000 shared electric scooters and bikes on the streets of the French capital.